Okay, so can you guys all see my screen okay? Awesome. Okay, so this is a link um that sorry, can you see that? Okay, Melissa's nodding, so I trust her. The link on top, I'm gonna upload this when we upload the class into Suite Assist um, and fix the typos, blah, blah, blah. But the link above is actually from the FCC. So last year, last December, the FCC in December, so 2023, um, changed all the rules regarding internet leads, dialers, texting, emailing, everything. How to contact an internet lead, how you're getting their info, how they're reselling internet leads. And I'll tell you, Zillow was named in this. So, um, companies were given a year to fix what they were doing or change their business models. Um, and it goes into effect December or technically January 2025 or December 2024. So FCC says you have until January 27th, 2025. What does that mean? It is targeting, the new rules targets all the companies for spamming, outbound marketing calls, even texting. Um, and they want you to have a relationship with that person and that person to know you. Um, so ATDS means automated telephone dialing system. Dialers are going away. None of you sound excited. I'm totally excited. There is a lot of big teams and brokerages and software companies that buy leads and resell them. And there's some agents that'll make 1,000 to 2,000 calls a day on dialers. They can't do that anymore.
This is the best news ever, I think.
It's huge, huge. So people that are paying for leads, depending on what system, so Zillow, Realtor.com, they're going to be paying more for leads. Technically, the leads need to stay with the listing agent or the one person that they made contact with. Okay, super important. You can't purchase one lead and resell it to 100, 50, 200 people. So I have it in here just so you guys can read it over. No more shopping sites, lead generators, and they actually have to have specific verbiage on their sites and consent. And I have that listed in here. Okay. Consumers must be informed about which companies will receive their information. And I'm talking specifically real estate, right? Because we're realtors. So let's just say a buyer, someone's going on Zillow, we'll just put it out there, and they're clicking on that house and they're like, do you want to talk to the agent? They think that they're talking to the listing agent. And then all of a sudden they're getting 20 phone calls from all these realtors. That has to stop. That can't happen anymore. So according to the new FCC rules, lead generation, all leads should now primarily go to the listing agent rather than being distributed. Sorry, you guys know I'm dyslexic, so it's part of my speech. Through a wider pool of agents, as the new regulations require explicit one-on-one consent from consumers before their contact information can be shared with any seller and effectively limiting the ability to sell those leads to multiple agents without clear individual opt-in from the consumer. So the consumer has to check a box and say that they want multiple agents to contact them. So this was game changing. It even affects AI, forcing lead gen changes to all real estate businesses nationwide. And this is the model of Zillow and Realtor.com, and agents paying for those leads. So just to give you an idea, in 2024, there was 150 million leads generated in the US for real estate. There was fewer than 5 million transactions so far. So their whole intent is to close this loophole on lead generation, reduce the spam for consumers, and real estate transaction facilitators. The core of our business has always been one-to-one relationships and referrals, and that's what they wanted to get back to. So they're cracking down on lead sharing, selling consumer information to multiple sources, and multiple agents. So it will no longer be possible. And so if you are buying leads, that cost is going to go up because you're the only person getting that lead. So budget for next year if that's what your business is about. It's not a bad thing, guys. It's really not. If you text message or voice marketing campaigns, you need to make sure you have the proper consent from each consumer before you're talking to them. You will get hit with fines. And I'm going to say it again, no more dialers. So
what
obviously,
about existing leads that we already have that we're communicating with? Can we continue to communicate with them?
so I will go down because it actually says based off that they should have proper, hey, it's okay to talk to me, right? Um, so at Bliss, we have internet leads through Sync. You sign up and you pay a 25% referral fee. So I'm like reaching out to Sync, hey, where do you comply? How do you comply? So this is actually their email to me. Regarding the FCC rolls out and the new rules, they're aware and they're updating all of our sites, and they have never actually resold leads. Each registration and it goes to that agent, it's that own. They don't resell them, number one. But they do need to make sure that the proper verbiage is on display. So this is what it would look like.
Thank you.
So I was happy to report that. So Prime Street also follows the rules and they do a live transfer. Very important because they've already had those discussions and pre-qualified them. That person's already opted in and that lead is going to you if you answer that phone, right? And that's a 35% referral fee. We already have 2 closings with Prime Street. We've already had closing through Sync Leads. Why agents don't work these more is beyond me. So I have all the verbiage in here. Again, FCC wants the one-to-one consent. So if you're buying leads from somewhere, double check that they have this and they're getting the consent. I can already tell from last year to this year that I have not been spammed on people wanting to, for me to buy lists anymore, lead lists. Now you'll get spammed. Hey, we have leads. Do you want to pay a referral fee? Well, where are they getting those leads? How are they qualifying them? And do they have the proper, because I'm going to get in here and you can see number 4, do not call. If they are still on the do not call list, you can't text them unless you have the okay to reach out to them. So that's why the live transfer is important because they're saying they want to speak to you. There's other sites, Redx, some others, even through the dialers. they'll show the leads on do not call, and agents will still reach out to them. You will get hit with a fine, and we're talking thousands of dollars. And this is going to include texting too and emailing.
Mara, we can only see the very first little section that you had.
Oh, weird.
We can't see anything that you're talking about right now.
Oh, sorry. I'm glad you said something. Let me scroll back up so you guys can see the sync stuff. Can you see that now?
Mm-mm. No, I still see the.
Usually with Zoom, you have to stop your share to share something new and then reshare.
It's being very
It's
funny.
annoying, I know.
Sorry guys. Can you see that now?
Yep. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sorry, I was like bebopping away. So I have all the verbiage in here and the links. And here's the sync stuff and their messaging. So that's what it looks like for a consumer on their end. So no more robocalls. That's huge. And if a company gets reported, they have to show that their leads are clicking on consent. It has to be in writing. Disclosure, sharing information. Again, the consumer cannot be sold to multiple people unless they check a box or say that they want 20 calls from 20 agents, right? The do not call list is going to get very, very important. So if you're texting and emailing, it's going to apply. So the FCC's ruling on the do not call, text messages, redefine your prior expressed written consent. I think this is great, you guys. This is why we go after listings, so you can get leads. It's like your leads have gone away, and sign calls are pretty much obsolete because everyone can get information on the internet. So you want to be that agent listed on the internet. It's your listing, right? This is huge. The most important step, and I have things in here, is if you're marketing and outreaching, is just to have the small verbiage out there on your marketing, just to cover yourself. And again, if you're using certain websites and lead partners, ask them, what are they doing? How are they doing this? Right? We get asked all the time, do you want to sign up on this lead program? Where do your leads come from? What rules are you following? Super important. Because if that company's going down, you're probably going down too. I don't think this is as a negative thing. I actually am excited. So we've already seen a change kind of throughout the year with teams and brokerages that really focus on this. So this is what it looks like if a consumer goes onto a site and inputs their information. The website gets the info. They'll push things out to the buyer. The website, it should delist like bidders, higher bidders website, I guess. So if they're, I think they're trying to say if this was Zillow, right? And I think Ready does it. Upnest now. So they're changing how they're giving out leads. So agents can be listed on this website and have all their bios, their videos. And I know we stressed you guys about videos, but this is why, because this is where it's going. And then from there, the consumer can select the agent that they want to work with. So some of these companies now are even saying, okay, if you want this lead, you need to pay us X amount, or maybe a referral fee at closing. And this is kind of what we're seeing shift this year. Zillow's even starting to shift to their team leaders. So they're listing out, and then the team leader can funnel the leads through their team. But it's all video. People want to watch your videos. They want to hear about you. They want to see you, how you engage, your presentation, and then they select you in a list. So I really wanted you guys to see that. I don't want to scare you about internet leads because it's still another source to get business. But before you sign up with anybody, you want to see, again, their procedures and their models. How do they do things? So AI was also listed and as a lead follow-up. Do not have AI do your lead follow-up. You have to ensure that the compliance is there and the consent. Super important.
What if you have the consent through the lead generation source and you just have it set up so that, like, for example, if you don't respond immediately to them reaching out to you, your AI will send a text saying, you know, thank you for inquiring in this, and
That's
I will get
fine.
back to you shortly.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine because they already have consent. They've already agreed to hear from you.
Okay.
It's more of people are using AI to drum up business, and that's what they're trying to have you stop doing. And again, I go back to like the dialer. There's agents that are making 1,000 phone calls a day, sending out mass texts. Artificial intelligence is doing it. You could hire a virtual assistant, and they're doing all this for you. It's got to stop. They want the connection between the realtor and that buyer, and to form that relationship. It also goes back into what happened with the buyer broker forms, the docs, because they want you to have communication with your client and everything to be out there. Does that make sense to you guys? I wanted to go through this because I wanted you guys to see the potential, right? There's a lot of potential because people are on the internet, and that is how you can grow your business. 100%. Can you guys see that? I switched the screen over. Okay. So I'll resend it out to all of our agents. This was a connecting with new leads. So we did a class, it was a couple years ago with Ryan. He built his whole team and business up off internet leads. Day one, day two, right? And since they've already, like if you're using Sync, or I would check if you're using Real Geeks Follow Up Boss, that they have that all in place. You always want to ask. That was the first thing I did. I emailed Sync support. Hey, the new FCC rules. What are you guys doing about this? And that's what they sent me back. So whatever you're using, double check that you're covered, that your websites are covered. It should be listed on there. And as because I even run ads through Facebook through Sync. So they're going to have it all in there for me. So I don't even have to worry about it, right? It's fabulous. So the agents that are used to working off dialers, come on, guys, like I'm pumped up. Internet leads, they're not always they're going to buy or sell this week. They take time, and there's nothing wrong with it. We have a 12-month tracking touch system built out in sync so that the leads are touched from you, right? But this gives you an idea of how much you should follow up. With the rules, I don't think I would be as aggressive, right? The first time they come in, that's when you want to try and talk to them. And then you want to stay top of mind with them. A lot of them, they're just starting to look. They want to see what was out there. So they could be 12 months out. That's okay. You're working on your pipeline for next year, right? Still leads for next year. Or you can even help them relocate here and refer them to another agent and get a referral fee. What questions do you guys have? It's pretty basic with the rules. I mean, the biggest thing is to take away, how are you getting your leads? Where are they coming from? What do you need to change on your end? But I see the positive that as a listing agent, you're getting your leads, right? You should. Competing against.
I had a quick question. Sorry to interrupt you. So through the title companies, like I'll have them scrub certain areas that I'm marketing to put them to run it so that it's basically scrubbing it to make sure they're not on the do not call list. Is there an extra layer to that? Like if we verify if they're on the do not call list, can you still not reach out to them or?
You would probably need to send them an email or a text beforehand asking for their okay that you talk to them. Because if someone's, yeah, or if you're doing that before you even reach out to them, I would send, hey, is it okay if I talk to you? So you may actually see mailers pick up again.
I was gonna say, because I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people will do that with mailers and you don't necessarily like ask them first, you just send it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yep.
So if they're calling you off the mailer, that's different, right?
Yeah.
They've gotten your info, they're making that call. If you are making that call, totally different. So I think we'll see it shift too with the title companies. Because I don't know how well they get their leads from different software. And I don't know what they're going to do about that. I can find out.
Yeah, I can ask my marketing lady as well that I work with quite a bit. So
I don't think people are truly paying attention to this, but it's coming and it's happening December and January. So if people complain, we already saw agents with big brokerages that kept calling on the do not call list. They got hit with 10 or 20 grand fines. You guys want to freak out over the buyer broker form. This is going to bring you even more fines. So, and don't mess with the FCC. So the minute someone says, hey, you keep spamming me, they don't even have to tell you stop. They can just report you and say, hey, I'm getting these weird texts, emails, calls from this person, and I don't know how they got my info.
Hey, Mara, there's a couple questions in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Lamar asked, how do I get access to Sync?
You all have access to Sync. I add you when you hire on.
Should be in your onboarding email.
Yeah. And then, 100% Canal FSBOs. Yes.
So for the FSBOs, if they are on do not call list, which is
Don't call them.
we have to double check if they're on the do not call list, right? Okay.
You can go to their door and leave marketing.
Okay.
If they're responding back, that's okay. And you can ask them, it's okay that we're having a conversation, right? Like, any marketing that you put out, you can have the small verbiage, but it's mainly for internet leads, right? Because we had guys that got into a mass, I read those numbers, statistic wise, 150 million leads were generated in the US this year, and the year's not even done. Less than 5 million transactions. That's those lead companies just selling everybody's information. People are clicking on the properties because they're thinking about selling, they're thinking about buying. So they are legit people. It's just, it's getting out of control. So Zillow was actually named specifically in this change and lawsuit. What other questions do you guys have? Using sync, you should be safe. And again, if you're getting leads from certain places, you've got to ask the questions, right? Where did they come from? Did they approve me contacting them? Is it documented? I would ask for that too. But this is changing a lot of brokerages and a lot of big teams, guys. This is huge. This is great. Because the internet's only growing and social media is only growing. So I don't say it to scare you, I say it to excite you. You want to work internet leads. It shouldn't be your main source unless you're going to really double down on this. But this should be a lead source within your business. And then how do you work them? What's your follow-up? Because they take time. They're not instant. And this is one of the biggest failures for agents is they sign up, oh, I want internet leads. You guys call them because I go in and track and I remove you guys if you're not doing what you're doing because it costs us money. So I think you give it 2 weeks, maybe 30 days at the most, some of you. It takes 12 months.
I had a quick question. I might have
Yeah.
missed that. Do you know the model that Zillow is going to change to? Back in the day, I used to pay $2,000 a month, and I
Yeah.
loved it because I was really good at converting the Zillow leads. And then they changed it where now there's a split program where it's a pretty high split
Yeah.
that you're giving them. But what are they going to do with that now? Because I know obviously it is a little annoying because while it's great when you're paying for the leads, if you're good at converting them, when you're the listing
Yeah.
agent, it's like a double-edged sword because then people don't understand that that's not necessarily your listing. But do you know how they're going to change their model to comply with that?
I don't. I have heard, so there's a couple ways. A couple of the internet leads are going through where they're listing out agent options. So Zillow's talked about having all their team leads listed, and like UpNest is already doing it, Ready's already doing it. So the consumer can opt in, check all the agent bios, watch their videos, and then select the agent they want. So if Zillow goes that route, I know they are taking team leaders and then the lead is going to that. I know Zillow, and they'll probably increase their prices. Some of them are charging fees up front if you get that lead, and then some are doing referral fees at the end. I know some agents in Zillow were paying 10 or 15,000 a month. And you could see that. You could see $5,000 for that one lead to get that one lead because now it's not being funneled out to hundreds of agents. So what does that cost look like? So in the end, when you're building out your business plan, figure out which lead sources you want to work with, right? And what is it going to cost you? I don't think Zillow's come out to say anything yet. The FCC gave notice last December to tell companies to start making their changes and change how they do business because effective December or January 2025, December 24, January 2025, it goes into effect officially. So look at the lead sources that you're getting leads, and you want to verify 100% that they're not reselling leads. If they're doing it after December, then I would get out, because they're going to get hit with a fine. They want real estate to go back to the relationships, right? To connect with that consumer. And I think that's super important. You know, they interview us on listing presentations. They're starting to interview on the buyer presentations. So yeah, it's where we tell you guys to get your marketing, your content ready so you can put that out there. Because the internet's easy. What's the best way to get to know someone? Follow their feed, watch their videos, and then they engage. They have a phone call, maybe a Zoom. So it's still a relationship. What other questions do you guys have? You guys are super quiet. Melissa, do you have any?
No, I don't think so. I think everything's covered. I think this is really good.
I used to buy lists. I've done it all, guys. I used to pay for Zillow leads. I've done realtor.com. I do UpNest. I do Ready. I've closed sync leads. So, you know, they're not bad. It's just know the rules and then know where you're getting the information. Right? So if all you do is text or email, you might want to change that up depending on where you got your list from. And start sending out your mailers now. Like we have that set up all through Referral Suite, but because I think you're going to see the mailers going back to it next year.
I was just going to add that it's really important for people, in my opinion. I mean, you always want to work both buyers and sellers, but I really think trying to shift to more listings, because I was talking to my real estate attorney that I work with sometimes, and he's been doing this 30 years, and he does training for NAR and he does training for AR. And he was saying that, you know, all the lawsuit that happened with NAR, he's like, people don't realize, but it's going to create a whole nother can of worms. And his fear is that there's going to be a lot of, you know, even if you're writing unrepresented, you know, disclosure, you're the listing agent, there's going to be a lot of implied agency, you know what I mean? So I've already had a couple buyers come to me that, you know, basically were like, well, I can do this myself. I don't want to pay a buyer broker fee, not understanding that, you know, the value, and that most sellers are still being educated that it is worthwhile to offer that compensation, especially depending demographically where that home is, because a lot of first-time buyers cannot afford that. But I've seen it a few times already happen. So I would say definitely try to focus on getting more listings, because I see had a couple buyers who just now come to me directly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
to have a successful business, you have to have listings.
Oh, for sure.
Whether you team up with someone, you need listings, you guys, and you want to circle prospect. You want to go after more listings, your marketing. Of course, I always work with buyers. I tend to have more buyers than sellers. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But
no, not at all.
Listings save you time. Buyers will take more time. So you can have multiple listings. It's endless. Versus honestly, when you think about it, how many buyers can you truly work with? And everybody's different, right? I know my max, I'm probably between an 8 and a 10, depending on the areas and how needy they are. So truly, depending on how many buyers you have, you want to go after listings. Well, a lot of the leads come in as buyers and they have a property to sell. The internet leads, the quicker you can talk to them, the better off you are, and find out their time frame. Like in Sync, you can track where they're coming in, what properties they're looking at, what's their time frame. And there's nothing wrong with touching base with them once a month, plus putting on them an automated system, right? So, you always want to work. You've got multiple sources of leads coming in for your business. And what does that look like? Is it networking? Are you doing events, right? Is it business? Is it, I don't know, open houses? So are you buying leads? Where does that come in from? What does that look like? And you have to track, right? Track your ROI. Set up your systems to track how many leads came in, how many open houses did you do? You sent out the flyers. Was it targeted? How many contacts did you get from that? What was the end result? Because you're running a business. So you need to know where are you spending your money and your time, and then how quickly are you able to turn these leads? And I think we talked about it last night on the coaching call. It was, you go to the your networking event and you're caught up in it and you're having a good time talking to everyone. Well, you feel busy. Even if you're doing an energy audit of your week, which you guys all should, you feel busy throughout the day. But really, what did you accomplish? What did you do? So that's what you guys need to pay attention to is as you're talking to people, are they beneficial to your business? Is it going to lead somewhere? Don't hang out with time sucks, right? And I try to give everything a year, unless you're throwing a ton of money at it, then I won't. Because you got to track that data. Super important. Ryan's going to be one of our speakers, and I'll send out his video again. It's a couple years old, but he's going to be one of our speakers in December. And his whole business was based off internet leads. But he did not mess around. Like, you got to be on these. And you got to stay in contact with them, just like any other person, right? Any other person, you got to stay top of mind with them. So with these changes, I love it. I interview for the company and I already know teams breaking apart. Brokerages that were supplying just this internet leads, they've got to shift, right? Or maybe that cost goes up. That's the other thing you guys are forgetting. Because of these changes, the costs for internet leads are going to go up. So make sure you guys do your videos, you work on your buyers, you got your listing presentation, your buyer guides, because a lot of the sites that I'm already on for leads, that's the shift they're going. And I get notified someone is looking at your bio, they're watching your videos, they're thinking about hiring you as their agent. So we'll probably see more of that. Anything else? You guys are quiet, Courtney. You guys got nothing?
Just listening to your brilliance.
Yeah, right. Listen, there are seriously massive teams, guys, that are making thousands of calls a day that their business is going to stop. How they do business is going to change. That is a positive for you. It is huge. And is also for listing agents because it's so frustrating that you don't get your sign leads, your internet leads. You worked hard to get that listing, you should get the leads from that. We actually have that set up in Sync. Now I can run ads off your listing, but I'm paying for that. Those leads are coming in. But we have it if a lead comes in off that listing, it should go to that agent. And if you have another job, then work that lead and then partner up with another agent. Take a referral fee. But get that relationship with that lead first, right? So you're not just farming it out. That's where you'll get in trouble. Anything else? Anything? Any thoughts about next year and changing up your business? We have like maybe 9 agents doing internet leads out of 140 plus agents. It's crazy to me. So why wouldn't you? Just because the lead doesn't buy or sell with you does not mean that they don't like you and they may refer you business. I have clients, well, I shouldn't say clients, I have people that refer me business that have never used me. I'll take a referral. So if you guys have questions, reach out. I'll upload this. I'll upload Ryan's document and also his video in this course. So you guys can watch it because he talked about it and he had statistics upon statistics with internet leads. Granted, what he did then may need to change now. And that's something I'll have him talk about in December, which I'm excited over. But, you know, what are you doing now that you can change? Maybe there's things you're not doing that you can start rolling out, right, in December and January as other people freak out because they're not working on their business. So I think it's a great opportunity to start on your business planning and to go, hey, I guess I haven't really worked on internet leads. Because even if you have another job, just like we explained with Tammy, Sync will text and AI them for 24 hours. So you have 24 hours to actually follow up with that lead. What's up, Court?
Not a whole lot, actually. I'm actually curious. I'm actually doing some digging while you're talking about this because in the past, for the FCC laws for sale by owners, looking at Kunal's question, were actually exempt because they were advertising their property. So according to FCC, they gave people the right to call them. So I was looking for that actually while you were talking, because there was an exemption, just like there's always an exemption for politicians to call you still.
Oh, I know. I wish it fell in this, guys.
You know, so I was just looking to see if that was still in effect, and I'm reading all of this exciting information.
Oh, it's so boring. I'm curious because obviously the FSBOs, they list on Zillow. So if you're wanting to work FSBOs, you can go right onto Zillow, pull the addresses. But I would try something different, offer to sit open houses, right? Help them out with maybe restaging their home or decorating it. Give them tips to help them sell. So as they're listing their property on Zillow, because don't forget, Zillow is also a real estate brokerage. So they're going to have to restructure and they'll probably have to have the seller say, yes, I want to be contacted by X amount. So I don't know. We'll probably see, some of these companies aren't going to make a shift until December or January, because it's money up to the end. But they already know what they're going to do. They just hadn't made the changes yet. FCC has been telling lead companies to work on this all year.
Yeah, so one of the lead companies I buy leads from, what they used to do was they had a maximum number in the Phoenix area, for instance, there's 4 people they would sell leads to.
Yep.
But what they're doing now, and they've put this into place starting, I think it was this month they're starting, is so what they do is they create like a splash page for you. And then they were doing it like, as an example, you could download this form on how to get your house sold quickly. And then obviously they would send that list out to 4 different people. Now what they're doing is those 4 people all get their own individual page and they're rotating it. So like one time it might be shown and it would be Melissa's picture. Next time it might be your picture. The next time it might be mine. And it'll have our information in there for that one-to-one consent. So I know that's how they're doing it. I suspect that's how similar Zillow will do it because it's pretty easy to rotate splash pages. So I'm guessing that's kind of how it'll take place.
Yeah, I'll be curious if the FCC says something about that, because again, it actually states in the rules too that the leads from the listing agent need to go to the listing agent. So I am not sure.
Yeah.
According to the new FCC rules regarding lead generation, leads should now go primarily directly to the listing agent rather than be I cannot say that word. You guys know that.
Distributed.
Yeah, there's certain words I just can't say with my dyslexia, sorry. So it'll be unless there's an opt-in, right, from the consumer. And so that might be their way around it, is if the consumer opts in for that to, and then like I said, so like UpNest Ready, they're already doing it where they have the list of the agents where it's like their splash pad. It's like they're interviewing. I know I had to upload videos of me working with a seller or a buyer. What does that look like? I had to list a bio about me, my listing presentation, like all these things. So everything we're telling the agents to do, these sites now are requiring it because I think that's the opt-in, and then the consumer can select that one agent they want to work with, and then at what cost for the agent, right?
Yep.
So do you pay for that cost once you get selected? Are you paying for that cost up front? Do you pay that cost in a referral fee? That's going to be up to that company. Yep. So you want to look at that too, right? How much do you charge a seller for a listing? How much did it cost you to pay for that lead? You need to track it.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be fun.
Have you guys seen those? It's kind of ridiculous. They advertise those flat fee listing. So for
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
$995 plus the buyer broker commission, I'll sell your home. But what people don't realize is it's not a full service. It's like they're
Oh
just
yeah.
putting, a lot of times they're just putting the seller's contact information in the MLS and saying,
Mhm.
hey, call them directly. Of course, they're not spending money on, high level marketing or photography or anything else. So, and in my opinion, they don't price it where they could, because why would they want to test it and price it higher? They don't, they don't
Right.
want to have to do a lot of work for $995. So
We saw that the first part of this year, and we were kind of already talking about some of those agents are going to come out for the flat fee to write a contract too. So you're always going to see, just like for a while we had the iBuyers here and then the consumers. iBuyers weren't a fit for everyone, right? But it's still an opportunity for someone to see what's the value. What's the value in that price? What's the value in that agent, right? So that's why we say get all your marketing squared away because you're going to get interviewed, listing side and the buying side. What's your value? How much do you charge? What's the consumer going to get from you, right? And spell it out. So I think it's good. I have a land listing and I get actually sign calls off that. It's very weird. Um, so I do know that people are reading the signs again and they're calling, and maybe they're afraid to go on the internet because they don't want to get bombarded. I don't know. So um so yeah, work on your guys' business this next year. If you guys have questions, but you should be excited over this. You really should. Again, anywhere you're getting leads, double check that they were following these rules, that it's okay for you to contact the consumer. Um, Obviously make sure no one's on the do not call list. That's a huge one. Um, or if they are, that it's okay that you're talking to them, right? So, um, so yeah, I was excited and I was like, let's bring it on, right? So we have agents closing Prime Street leads now. Super excited to see that. It took a little while and to work, right? Internet leads take a while to work, and now they're closing them. So I get notified and I love it. I don't work the Prime Street leads, so um I don't even work the sync leads. But I do test it if agents aren't responding, and then I start reaching out to the sync leads and I start getting them talking to me. So, and I'm like, this shouldn't be me, right? Um, so anyway, yeah, if you guys need anything, reach out to me. I'll upload this. Any other questions before we go?
No, thank you, Mara.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think you guys should be excited. So that's why we had the dialer activated at one point. I stopped it. I paid for Mojo Dialer. Stopped that. Um, So yeah, no longer a dialer is okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. You guys have a good day, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mara.